I had never read a Nora Roberts book before. I heavily enjoyed. That's a really weird way to phrase that. So I don't know what I'm trying to say. Oh, good God. Okay. We had a plan with the last one, so it was very clear in my head how that one was going to end, whereas this one, I genuinely don't know how we're going to end this one. So I don't know. There's so many things. As always, if you have a series that you know I've read, or just a series that you would like to see my opinions on and something like this, please let me know your thoughts. That would be our food. Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the next edition of Simplify My Series. So this time we are doing a smaller series. We're doing a trilogy, which I've read the first of, and we are hopefully, this is like a legit series. Like, it's not a companion, it's a full series. I mean, they are companion in a sense, but they all rely on each other, so I'm not going to count that. You already know what the series is if you've heard the title, but that is the Guardians trilogy by Nora Roberts. I read Stars of Fortune in, I think it was August, end of August, beginning of September time, I want to say, and gave it 5 stars. I had never read a Nora Roberts book before. I highly enjoyed this. I flew through it in like 2 days and I couldn't put it down and I was obsessed with it. So we are now going to read the next 2, which is Bay of Sighs and Island of Glass. So I'm debating on what to do for this video because with it being like an actual series, things that have happened in these 2 are going to spoil the first one. So I'm wondering if I should go into spoiler territory or not. This is the debate I'm having here, and I don't know what the best option is. But the series, just to give you an idea, Stars of Fortune follows these 6 people, all who have secrets, all who have different abilities. It is a fantasy, so they do have different abilities, and these are revealed throughout the course of this book. It mainly follows our main character, who can kind of see the future. She's a reclusive artist, and she has dreams and nightmares that she can turn into paintings, and then she just has these really big feelings, and she ends up going to, oh crap, where's this one set? I can't even remember. Corfu, which is a Greek island. And she keeps running into these 5 people that she has been drawing for months. And so it all turns out that they are searching for the same thing. She just came because she felt like it was the place to be, and then she ended up meeting these people. All these people have come for one reason or the other, but they all are related to these 3 stars. So in the past, like way, 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 way back in the past, it says that to celebrate the rise of a new queen, 3 goddesses of the moon created 3 stars, one of fire, one of ice, and one of water. They fell from the sky, putting the fate of all worlds in danger, and now 3 women and 3 men must join forces to pick up the pieces. So each book follows a romance within this group. This one followed Sasha's romance, and she was with this guy named Bran. And there is like an evil witch that's trying to get the stars as well, and so they're trying to protect them and get them before this witch does, because if she gets them, it's gonna, like, bad things are gonna happen to the world. So that's the purpose of this story. So we've got the first book, and by the end of this book, all these characters, like I mentioned, have like a secret in some way. So by the end of this book, we know all the secrets. And the next one, which is Bay of Sighs, which is one I'm going to be picking up probably sometime tomorrow, follows Annika and Sawyer. And I'm wondering if, because like Annika's secret is something that I kind of guessed right before it happened, but it was like a big reveal, and I feel like it's going to be a big part of this story. And then Island of Glass, just for the record, this one follows Doyle and Riley. So I know those names probably mean nothing to you, and me throwing out names is going to be very confusing, but just for my brain, that's who these books follow. So we're going to dive into the second 2 this month. I'm very, very excited because this is one of the trilogies, or this is just one of the series that I put on my like goals for the year as far as specific series that I would like to finish. I had like 4 and I've finished one of them, and now I'm going to try to make way in the next one. So this shouldn't be too long of a video because we've only got 2, and I feel like I need to go spoiler free just because that feels mean to do straight up spoilers, but let me know your thoughts on that down below, whether or not I should spoil maybe I don't want to spoil the second two, I just want to spoil the first book, basically, is my thought process. But let me know your thoughts down below. We'll see how it goes. But that's the plan, is this series. So the first one is Bay of Sighs, and like I said, I will try to start that one sometime tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 1st of May, so we should, I feel like this is going to be one that I dive into and finish relatively early on in the month, but we'll see. That's my plan. I hope you enjoy the next edition of Simplify My series. As always, if you have a series that you would like me to do, let me know down below. I'd love all of the recommendations, and let's see what happens. It's going to be exciting. I'm finally getting around to it. And I needed this push. I needed this video to push me to actually finish it. Sometimes we just need that, you know? Hello friends, I'm here with an update. So it's been a hot second. My Goodreads says I'm not quite halfway, but my bookmark disagrees. So I'm going off of that instead. So I am on chapter 12. I'm somewhere in there, 194 pages. I'm close to 200 pages into this book, and I'm very quickly going to dive through it, especially because like the last chunk of this book is actually the first couple of chapters of the next book. So really this book is only about 319 pages. So I've got like a little over 100 left. So I'm planning on probably finishing this, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe over the weekend. It depends. We had plans, but I'm not sure if that's actually happening. So depending on if there are plans, maybe I can finish this one and start it over the weekend. But first thoughts with this one so far, at least on the first half, which when I remember reading the first book, I feel like the first half was good. It set up a lot of stuff. It set up the romance pretty well, but then the second half is where the plot happened. Whereas this one, it basically starts almost, if I remember correctly on how the first one ends, almost immediately after the first book. So we're diving right in. So I think it's helpful to probably read them back to back just because of how quickly they progress and how quickly like they do one after the other, because I feel like the first book only is like a couple of weeks long, and they have like 3 months to find these 3 stars, because they mentioned somewhere in here that they still have 2.5 months left. So I feel like it didn't progress nearly as long as I thought it was going to. Either way, this one's weird because we follow Annika. She is, again, I'm finding it hard to figure out what I want to say about her. So I don't think I'm going to spoil the big reveals at the beginning of the first book yet. I think that just, unless I have to, I'm going to try to tread against spoiler territory. But because of like what is revealed about her, English is not her first language, so she is learning the right words, and she comes from a very different culture as well. So she's also learning the customs of things. So watching her kind of figure out the world and that kind of stuff, while also having this huge crush, more than a crush, honestly, falling in love with this guy named Sawyer, who also has some secrets and some stuff. But she is learning a lot of stuff, so he relates her back to a child a lot of the time as far as like level of learning, because she's basically relearning a lot of stuff. And because of that, he thinks of her as very, very innocent, and there's like that kind of strife within the relationship, at least at the beginning of their relationship. So I am not nearly as invested in them as I am, or as I was with the first book. I'm still enjoying this. I feel like this one will probably get a 4-star, but I don't think this one's going to get a 5-star out of me, just because I enjoyed the first one so much. And I feel like there was a lot of hurdles that our main characters had to get through, and I feel like there was a lot of reveals, whereas this one, it's like all the big stuff has happened and we're just kind of like waiting for the things to happen, you know? And while I like their relationship, it's very insta-lovey, and like the first one was kind of that way, but at the same time, there's a lot of fate involved, and while there is some fate involved in their relationship, there's just some aspects of it that I just feel are very quick, you know, as far as jumping into said relationship. But I do like them. There's this scene that I just read on the way home when I was listening, and because Annika is very, you know, inexperienced in some stuff, she asks a lot of questions and tries to figure out what the correct way to do things is. So obviously she knows what sex is and that kind of stuff, but she doesn't know the rules surrounding sex within this society. And so she and the other 2 women that are in this group kind of like go off on their own, and they're kind of trying to teach her, not about sex, because again, she knows what that is, but about like the social norms when it comes to their world and like what that means for like what our main character Sawyer, what he means when he says certain things. And that scene was honestly super, super humorous because she clearly knows what's going on, but she comes from a culture that's very like upfront and is going to tell you exactly the way that she's thinking, whereas this culture is very like nuanced and there's innuendos, and a lot of people sometimes will not say exactly what they mean, or they use sayings, and she's a very literal thinker, I think is what I'm trying to say. So that was very humorous, that whole conversation, because obviously her friends know that she's like this and they understand that side of her, but it was just really funny to see that scene. But I am enjoying it, and I feel like we're about to hit like the big last climactic moment. They're just kind of like revving up for this big event, and I think things are about to go down. So I wanted to come in here and kind of give you first thoughts as we're about to get into the rest of the book. I'm probably going to like dive through the rest of this very, very quickly, and then maybe get into the second one soon, or the third one after this. But I'm interested to see, I'm honestly more interested to see how the third one's going to go, because like going into this book, out of the two relationships that we had left, this is the one that I was more interested in because just the secrets that surround Annika as a person. But I'm actually really interested about the third one because like in the first book, there were hints at this relationship, but there were no hints at the one that happens in the third book. And even in this book, it's very much like they don't look at each other in a romantic light. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there that's going to cause them maybe to look upon each other. But I'm also a little worried because I feel like there's some stuff that's going to go down. There's some threats. There's some scary moments. And honestly, I'm afraid someone's going to die. I'm not going to lie. Like, it is a fantasy, so like things go down. But again, it's kind of like, it's a romance. So I don't know if she would do that to our characters, but I'm worried that she is because like, I don't know. I'm conflicted about what I think is going to happen, but moral of the story is I'm enjoying it, but not nearly as much as the first one. I don't know if I hyped this one up too much in my head compared to the first one because I enjoyed the first one so much, but I'm still interested to see how the end's going to go. Like, I am now invested. I think it took me a while to get reinvested in the characters, even though I know them. There's just something about them that these are written in third person, so it's not like you're in their heads, but obviously they're focusing more on these two main characters. We do get little scenes from our characters from the first book. I mean, all six are working around each other, but like there are a couple of scenes in here that are just the couple from the first book alone together, and I like seeing them kind of in a domestic light and seeing them after the like happily ever after kind of situation that their romance takes. So I'm interested to see where we're going to go from here. Things could happen. I think it's really cute. I do think that they are sweet towards one another. It's just a little bit different than I expected, and not nearly as invested, but I'm still interested to see how it's going to end. The ending could totally sway me, and this could end up being a 5-star, but I feel like something amazing has to happen for that to be the case. Whereas the first one, that did kind of happen. The first one, all of these secrets kind of have come out by the end. So like there was that big moment. But either way, I'm interested to see where this is going to go. I've only got a couple of hours left in my audiobook, so I'm going to plow through this so quickly. And I'll let you know my thoughts when I've reached the end of this one. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, at least at this halfway point. Hello! Is it the next day? It might be the next day. I can't remember when I talked to you last. But I've officially finished Bay of Sighs last night, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I think the first one is better. I think I'm emotionally connected to that couple more than this one, and I think it was brand new. I'd never read anything by Nora Roberts before, and having that be the first one was really good, and this one is just kind of like the same stuff, which is fine. I don't really know what I wanted from this book. There was a lot of really sweet moments. There was some stuff that happened near the end that I got more invested in, which is why I was kind of just like meh when I came to you last. And it definitely got better. It's not the happiest of stuff that happens because like it's these 6 people who all have some sort of something about them that makes them different, and the big bad person has hired other people to help her out to try to get these stars that they were trying to get as well. And they like capture some of the people in our group and torture them. So like that's not the happiest of stuff to talk about, but like because her writing is so, in my opinion, distant, it doesn't feel as bad. Like it's not great. Like I didn't enjoy reading those parts, but it didn't feel as like on the page. It didn't feel as like pressing. I figured like things were going to work themselves out. I didn't feel like I needed to worry about them. Because of the nature of the story and how the first one started with our main character, and that one was Sasha, and she can see the future. And so because of that, there's definitely a lot of like flowery language, let's say, in this one, to the sense of like when she has a moment and like needs to tell them what she's seeing, or like something that's about to happen to them. Like she kind of speaks in riddles almost, which makes the language very, the best way I can describe it is flowery. Like it's very, you know, riddle based, and it's not as easy to understand. And then there are moments where it's very clear what's going on. So like it kind of goes back and forth of being very clear about what's going on and not clear about what's going on. In the sense of like the ending of this book, I really didn't know quite what happened. And I've already read a couple of chapters in Island of Glass, which is the third one. And it kind of explained what happened at the end of this book, which I needed, because I was like, well, I don't even, like I literally just finished it and I don't know what happened. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm invested in the characters. I still think that the first two couple was my favorite. So I think I got so invested in them that the fact that they are not the main focus of the next two books, which makes sense, I was excited about. And then now that I don't have that, I think that's why I was so connected to the first one, was because of those characters. So I'm definitely interested in the rest of them. I don't expect them to be as good as the first one, and I'm thinking that I'm more interested in Nora Roberts' contemporary than I am her fantasy, just because I feel like her contemporary rating is better in my opinion. There's definitely a lot of her fantasy. It's very mild fantasy. Like I don't expect a big high epic something to happen. In this, it's very like realistic, and if fantasy existed and magic existed, this is what I suspect it would be like in our world, kind of thing. But at the same time, that's just something about the writing that is not my favorite, and I think I enjoy her contemporaries more. So I'm really excited to continue. This one, like I said, was good. I got 4 stars. I did get invested in the romance. I did get invested in the plot. We had some stuff that went down, and we're moving along with finding the stars, which is exciting. So I finished this one. Very excited about that. I don't know what to expect from the third one, because the third one is the couple that I feel like I was interested in the least and has the least build-up. But I'm interested to see where it goes. I feel like this could have the potential to have the most character growth out of all of them, just based on our couple and based on where they've come from. I'm very interested to see this. We have a very like power female kind of main character, and Riley, she is just kind of a go-getter, and she is the first one that got added to this group of 6. Sasha was the one from the first book, and she was one who kind of got the ball rolling, but she met Riley first before anybody else. And so I'm interested to see about her romance. We have gone to a different place. Each book kind of takes place in a different place. This one takes place on the coast of Clare, which I believe is in Ireland, and our main male character for this one, Doyle, he has some history with that area. So I think he's gonna have to work through some stuff, and Riley's gonna have to work through some stuff to try to trust him, I think is the issue. I mean, she trusts him. They really are a found family in the 6 of them, but as far as like with her heart, I think she is very much the like, oh, I'm just here for fun kind of person. And I think there needs to be more character development from her. So I'm not sure where we're going to go from here, but the secret, or like the thing that Riley has been carrying, is very interesting to me, and we haven't seen a lot of it in the last 2 books because we're not in Riley's head, and in this one we're going to be in her head. So I'm interested to see her perspective on things, and this is going to wrap everything up. Like this is the end. This is where it all ends. Things are happening, and there's going to be probably like a big bad thing at the very, very end of the story. There's some like stuff with some of our past characters and our past relationships that makes it seem like once this is over, that relationship is over, but I'm interested to see what the author's going to do to help that out. And I'm interested to see, like, I am invested. This was the first book I actually got. Like, I bought this one at a Barnes & Noble so many years ago without realizing that it was the third in a series, and so I've been collecting the other 2 in the series before I could even get to this one. So this is the one that started this, and like reading the synopsis, I don't know what in the synopsis told me to pick it up, because like it's very much a like dependent on the other 2 books. So I don't really know what I was thinking when I picked this up. But this is the first one I got, and so I'm really interested to see how this series wraps up. But those are my thoughts on this one. At least I finished the second one, and we're about to start the third one. So maybe not the most exciting vlog for you guys, but I'm really interested to see how this this series ends, because I was so interested in it in the first, and I'm still very invested in where we're gonna go from here. Hello, I am here because I am a little over halfway through Island of Glass, and I'm here to tell you my mid-book thoughts. So, I'm enjoying this one much more than the second one. So I think the second one was just either I wasn't as paying attention to it as I should have been. I kind of like flew through the second half of the book, but also a lot of details and a lot of stuff was revealed in this book, and I'm very invested in these characters at this point and where we're gonna go. So I'm gonna get through the second half of this. Well, I'm a little over half. I think I'm like 60% of the way through, maybe not quite 55, 60%. So I have a good chunk to go, but I've got only about a couple of hours to go left in this book. So I am very, very interested in where we're gonna go. We had some revelations, I guess, when it comes to all 6 people and why them, and maybe some connections that they have with like these 3 goddesses from way back when that made the stars before they fell down. And we've seen some romance stuff that's happened between Riley and Doyle. Nothing too serious yet. I'm wondering what's going to be. There's got to be something that happens that causes them to take the romance seriously, let's say, and we haven't gotten there, so I'm interested to see where we're gonna go. But I am very much enjoying this one. I still think the first one's my favorite, unless something crazy happens at the end, which is entirely possible. It's the third one. Something crazy could happen at the end, but just a lot of the like preparing for the future kind of situations. They talk a lot about like after what they're doing right now, after that ends, you know, the what next. How are they going to continue to be with each other and like hang out as a family, because the 6 of them have really become a family, and they just talk about a lot of the like, you know, the after moments, which is nice, because a lot of the times when you're in like a big struggle and you're not sure everyone's going to survive, it's nice to have them actually talk about the future, because a lot of times you see characters don't do that, and they basically are like, no, I don't want to speak about the future, because when I speak about the future, then I'm probably not going to have one. You know, it's got that vibe, but this one doesn't. It's got them actually talking about the future, and I really like that, and I just really like their dynamic, and the 6 of them coming together and like really caring for each other. I mean, you got that by the end of the first book, but like you really got it set in stone here. And a lot of the characters, especially because like this one follows Riley, who was the very first person that kind of like joined this group. Like she and Sasha, the main girl from the first book, really joined up together. Just the 2 of them first, and then they started getting other people included in it. And Doyle, which is the main character in this one, was the last one that was added. So it's really interesting seeing that dynamic of her and Sasha, and seeing that dynamic of her and Doyle. And I just really like seeing it, and I'm really invested in it. And I think I'm just paying attention to it more, maybe because I'm taking it slower. I don't know, but I'm definitely liking this one much more than the second one, which is good, because I was super worried when we got into that one, and how I was enjoying it, but like I expected to enjoy it way more than I did, because of how I enjoyed the first one, but also just the characters. I thought I was gonna like them a lot more. And there's definitely some stuff that feels rushed in here with some characters, and some stuff that feels about right. And then we've also got some other characters that we have seen being added in. I also think it's interesting because Riley is the person with all the connections, and so in the past books, if they needed something, Riley would go off, make a phone call, and then come back, and they would have whatever supply they needed, a boat, you know, ammo. She had connections and getting them into certain things. She was the researcher. And so you saw, like, you never really saw those things happen, but because we're in Riley's head, we're seeing those things happen now. We're seeing her make these connections instead of like her doing it behind the scenes off stage and then coming back and having the thing magically done. Like we see it here, which I really liked. And I kind of wonder if it would have been better for her to have been the second book. But as far as the characters and how it makes sense that they're the last book. So I don't know, I just found it really interesting seeing the 2 of them. Or really just, I think Riley's a fascinating character. She's very like headstrong. She reminds me, because I'm also rereading ACOTAR right now, she reminds me of a mixture of Moore and Nesta, if you're an ACOTAR person. just like the very headstrongness of her, and the I don't give two F's what anybody thinks about, like that's the vibe she's got. But she also like genuinely cares about people and her people and like the group of people here, the 6 that they have created. So I'm really enjoying it. I suspect this will be a very quick ending because we're getting pretty close to the end, and some stuff's got to go down. Like we have a lot to get through before we can actually make it to the end. And there is an epilogue in this one, whereas the last books there haven't been one, which kind of makes sense because they chronologically are like back to back to back, so it makes sense that this one would have one, with it being the last book in the series. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. It's making me very happy. I don't have a lot of different thoughts. Generally, we've just got a lot of plot things that have been happening, and I don't know. We had a plan with the last one, so it was very clear in my head how that one was going to end, whereas this one, I genuinely don't know how we're going to end this one. So, I don't know. There's so many things. I'm just very interested, and I'm loving it. So, that's my halfway update, is that I'm enjoying it much more than the second one, and things are about to go down. I don't know what the things are, but things are about to go down. Hello, I am here because I just finished, literally minutes ago, probably less than a minute ago, Island of Glass. I really, really liked the way this ended. It was very, very perfect. The ending, there's something that happened at the ending with Doyle and Riley's characters that made me cry. So I just really liked how this ended. I really liked their dynamic. It felt more realistic than what I was expecting, and I wasn't really sure what to expect with them. Like, they were the ones that felt the least obvious in my mind, and it almost felt like the two of them got paired up because they were the last 2 people who hadn't been paired up. But when you think about it, it actually made a lot of sense, and just their 2 personalities and how adventurous they are and what they want from life and that kind of stuff, it really made sense. So I am fully on board with this. This is definitely my second favorite. I think the first one is still my favorite. This one got 4.5 stars. So I think the first one's my favorite just because it sets everything up, but this one is a very close second. And there were some stuff that happened in here with like the romance plot lines that maybe felt a little rushed, or well, no, I was gonna say premature. Like, one of them might have been premature, but the other ones didn't feel like it. And there was just a lot with them that I really enjoyed, and this was just a very, very satisfying ending. So this means that I've officially finished the entire Guardians trilogy. I've officially finished my very first Nora Roberts series, which is the first one that I ever started by her, which was Star of Fortune. It's one I've been collecting for a while, and I don't know if you can see, but I did actually tab a good chunk of these. So I really enjoyed these. These are really fun books that you just can get really swept away in. It's a lot of mythology in here with these characters and a lot of solving problems. I could see where some situations in these books I would want more detail and more explanation as to how things happened as far as like solving the problems, because like we hit the very last chapter in this book and we hadn't solved a lot of our problems yet. So they do kind of wrap up quickly, and like the big things happen very quickly. There's a lot that's crammed into these really tiny books. So if I were to criticize them, or if I were to change something about them, I would change some of the plot, because in the sense of maybe not change the plot, but change the way it's described, because there are definitely some instances where I feel like you could have drawn it out for a couple of chapters and really dive into how things are done instead of just like very quickly on the surface being like, and this is how it happened. But that's just kind of how Nora Roberts writes. I noticed that with the other series that I've started by her, which is definitely one that I'm going to have to bump up higher on my TBR because of how much I enjoyed this one. And I really loved that one as well. But I did it. I finished this series and I feel very accomplished, even though it's literally just 2 books and they're relatively small. I feel crazy accomplished because this is one of the series that I had that I mentioned in, I think it was my goals video at the very beginning of the year, of like series that I wanted to keep track of as far as like maybe not finishing all the way, but trying to make progress in. So I'm just really proud of myself. And then I did it. And the fact that they were all 4 or 5 stars. So I did it. Look at that. We've finished this series and we've come to the end of my 2nd episode of Simplify My Series. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know if there's a series out there that you would like me to tackle in one of these videos. I have some ideas, but I would love to know what you guys think. So please let me know your thoughts down below. And if you've read this series, did you enjoy it? Are you a Nora Roberts fan? Let me know what your favorite Nora Roberts series is, because I need to know what I need to tack up near the top of my TBR. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome and growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so check all that out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!